Next part of our project is to get the log that we've sawn from the tree over to the sawmill. Here we're using our Antonio Carrera tractor, which we also use for mowing. That's the mower on the front. Simply attach the log to the tractor with a log chain and begin hauling it over to the sawmill. Since we've got a 22-foot log, we're cutting it in two so that we can have our lumber being a little bit more than 10 feet long. Since we pulled the log over, it has a lot of dirt on the end, and so the easiest thing to do is just cut the very end of the log off. That keeps some of the dirt and sand from impacting the saw blade.
This is an essential tool in moving logs. It's called a cant hook. This particular one is all metal, and it was made by the Cook sawmill people, the same ones that built our saw, and it's been a fantastic tool. You can get cant hooks with wood handles, but this metal handle is just really great. You just hook it into the log and let you roll the log and get it positioned on the sawmill. Sand does not do good things to your saw blade, so you want to try to get rid of that kind of material. We're going to be using a tree dibble, a pine tree dibble, to knock the bark off the log, and again, it works great, particularly on a log like this that's been dead a while. And you can see the termites have been working up the log right underneath the bark, chewing away.
In order to get the log lined up properly on the bed of the saw, you can put a block at the end of the log and begin turning it with a cant hook. This lets you approach the bed of the saw with it at an angle, and this lets you get the log lined up in the proper position. Our sawmill was made by the Cook Saw Company, and they're located near Dothan, Alabama.
These are the two saw guides. That one is set permanently. This one can be adjusted to match the size of the log or the cant that you're cutting. So we've got a smaller log than we've had before, so we move this in and tighten it into place. Okay. This mill originally came with a 10 horsepower Briggs & Stratton motor on it that we wore out. We've replaced that with a 12 horsepower Kohler that really does a good job of sawing wood for us.
This wheel allows us to adjust the height of the saw blade, and it's locked in place by the V-belt. By looking down the log with the blade, we can see where we need to adjust the height of the saw blade. We're now ready to start the sawing process, and this lever engages the saw blades, the wheels that drive the saw blade, and it simply activates a belt tightener shown here.
Cant hook to turn it into the next position.
We now have our cant cut, and we're ready to begin sawing our lumber. So here we are sawing our 1x6 fence boards. The last board we cut about 1.5 inches. This allows us to make sure we don't run the saw blade into that metal piece there that holds the board in place. These are some of the holes that the beetles have made in the log while it was still standing in the tree. And you can also see some of the staining that fungi have caused as they begin attacking the wood. This weakens the wood a little bit, but we're hoping that it will still hold up and make a good 1x6 fence board. Ideally, we would have cut this log probably 3 months sooner than we ended up cutting the tree down. Ideally, you want to cut the tree down as soon as the needles start to turn yellow. So we've ended up with about 6 1x6s that we're going to be using in a fence. We stack them up here to let them air dry for a couple of days before we move them into the shed.